Good morning, everyone. How are you? Welcome to the Lyceum. We're so happy to see so many people here this morning and such lively conversation. It's wonderful. I'm Jane Peters. I work for the Partnership for Strong Communities, and I am the Events and Building Manager here at the Lyceum. The Partnership for Strong Communities is a statewide housing policy organization supported by the Melville Charitable Trust, and we work to create affordable housing and end homelessness throughout the entire state of Connecticut. We're very proud of the accomplishments that we've made thus far. We've helped to end homelessness for veterans in the state of Connecticut. We're on the threshold of ending chronic homelessness. We've seen dramatic decreases in these numbers. And this year we're taking on a very large task of ending youth and family homelessness in Connecticut. And it is a very large task. Just some information, there's over 4,000 youth in Connecticut that are homeless and over 300 families. So that's, when you come here today, all of the rental revenues that we make go to support our mission and to dramatically change those numbers, hopefully by 2020. As for the Lyceum, we're very proud to call it home. We are a green building, so we appreciate the fact that you are trying to recycle and compost today. That's really cool. So thank you so much for that. History on the building: it was built by the Archdiocese of Hartford in 1895. It was then owned by the Hartford Box Company. Then it was owned by the Lithuanian American Society until the mid-'80s. And then it was a hot air balloon manufacturer. And then it became a punk rock club called The Lit. Apparently the hot spot in Hartford, a very popular spot. I've been told that someone saw the Ramones here, so there's some history here. If the walls could talk, we'd hear some really good stories. They also turned, I believe it was the first floor, into a roller skating rink at one time. And then there were Friday night dances held in this very room that we're all in right now. The Melville Trust, though, wanting to create a housing policy center in Connecticut, bought and renovated the building in 2003, and we all moved in 2004. And the Lyceum has been a resource for many different types of events, conferences and workshops and speeches, and we've had political candidates come out and make their announcements. We recently had Jessica Pimentel from Orange is the New Black here. So a lot of exciting stuff, and not to mention a couple of weddings. Another one coming up in June, which is very exciting. So we have unique meeting space, and we're very proud of it, and we're very happy to welcome you all here. Very thankful to Lori for bringing you all here. And I thought I would end with a couple of interesting facts about Hartford. I don't know if you know that the Old State House is the oldest state house in America. The Buckley Bridge is the largest stone arch bridge in the world. It was built in 1905. Aetna Life Insurance erected the world's largest colonial-style structure. And the Hartford Courant is the oldest continuously published newspaper in America. I thought that was pretty cool. And the collection at the Wadsworth Athenaeum spans over 5,000 years. Somebody dropped off these facts to me the other day, and I thought I'd share them with you. Have a wonderful meeting. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. I'm thrilled to be here with all of you. My name is Amy Murley. I'm the chair of the Connecticut League of Conservation Voters, and I'm here with Wildelise Bermudez. As board members, we would like to officially welcome you to the annual Environmental Summit. Thank you for coming. And thank you to our event sponsors, Valerie Friedman Fund and Consumers for Sensible Energy. As you may have noticed, we didn't charge this year, which is thanks to their support. However, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that we'd appreciate any contributions or future contributions that you would make. I know Jonathan got some of you guys at the door, though. As an artist and entrepreneur, I've always focused on environmentalism. I look at things through a creative lens and bring a fresh perspective, as most young people do. I know that I am not alone when I say we all recognize there's a lot of work to be done in regard to the environment. And so today, we come together as environmental advocates, legislators, activists, youth leaders, elected officials, parents, residents, a community, to work across various party lines to delve deeper into the environmental work that is very much needed in our state. Last year, we collectively spoke out on Twitter, organized on Facebook, we signed petitions, we used as many platforms as we possibly could, but most importantly, we showed up for demonstrations. Last year was challenging to say the least, but we discovered some amazing allies to fight for the environment. Now, more than ever, we're in a unique position to connect with new, passionate environmental groups that are sprouting up throughout Connecticut. These groups are meeting all over our state. These groups are connecting online and in real time on issues that impact Connecticut. They're holding meetings in living rooms and coffee shops, and they're ready to show up, call their legislator, and hold people accountable. I keep meeting more people like me who want to get involved in the environment, especially young people, who want to refocus their frustrations and turn them into actions. One way to be certain our environment stands a chance is to invest in these new groups. We need to keep the conversations going. We need to invest in our youth, invest in underserved communities. As we fight for the environment, we need to truly consider who will be most severely impacted by the decisions made. We recognize that change starts with all of us. Change can begin with what's discussed here today in this room. And that's why we are all here, so that our efforts can have a greater impact. Our belief and our strength in numbers, we can succeed. On that note, I would like to introduce my fellow board member, CHISPA Program Director, Wildelise Bermudez.
Thank you, and good morning to all of you. Thanks for being here. As an environmental community, our work continues to grow now more than ever, with a lot more fervor than before. And we are thankful to have so many environmental advocates here in this room, leaders. And as our chair, Amy, said, we are thankful for all of the new groups that are here today, and also individuals that have emerged at the present, alongside those of you who have been doing this work for decades tirelessly. And so we have much to learn from one another. We recognize that. And we have much to learn from those who have been doing the work for a very long time. And so I'm, like Amy said as well, I'm also happy to see these new faces in the room. And so thank you for being here as well. We all recognize that the environment is an issue that impacts everyone, each one of us. At times, however, certain groups are not at the table or even considered. Whether it's by default or by design, whether it's intentional or not, we must recognize that young people, communities of color, underserved communities must also be included and must also be present when we talk about the environment. All of us understand that it is our responsibility to work across party lines, to be inclusive. But let's also acknowledge that we must work across zip codes. Rural areas, suburbs, cities, let's not forget about the cities. Cities like Hartford, Bridgeport, Waterbury, New Haven, New London. We must all work together, because at the end of the day, we are all part of the living environment. And we are all part of the environmental community. In Connecticut, our environment is in a state of emergency. All of us in this room recognize that. And now more than ever, we have to plan ahead with fierce determination and focus to work on the things that matter the most to us, our planet, or else our legacy for the future generations will be compromised. We must do this now before we have nothing left to fight for. And boy, do we have a lot to fight for. We must intentionally engage and invest in the populations that are most impacted by climate change. Groups like CHISPA, through CTLCV and the National League, we have made a concerted effort to bring more voices to the table, to provide a pathway to take action. And I know that many groups represented here today are also doing the same. And again, we thank you for that effort. Let's also be inclusive in bringing into our work those US citizens who have arrived at our doorsteps here in Connecticut, fleeing from climate change disasters in Puerto Rico. Right now, there are 7 major communities across Connecticut receiving climate change refugees from Puerto Rico. These families are arriving to Connecticut after losing everything they ever worked for. And they're here because of Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Maria. Our future in Connecticut is inextricably linked to climate change refugees who are arriving. For instance, in Hartford, we have already seen 1,300 individuals, and 400 children have already registered to actually be part of the public school system. And so they're enrolled. So let's make an effort to talk to these families and include them in our conversations about the environment. For they are the frontline survivors of what climate change looks like. Among them, these are Puerto Rican families who were farmers, fishermen, teachers, nurses, these US citizens completely displaced. They are environmentalists who believe strongly that air, water, land, natural resources must be protected. They are the voices who have informed us what the future might bring if we don't plan for the environmental sustainability that we want to see in our great state of Connecticut. We must do everything in our power to include them in our fight, for their fight is our fight. It's our own. Today, these US citizens are climate refugees, but tomorrow this may very well be us. Which is why we need things like a water mitigation plan to protect our spaces and also plan for renewable energy. And the list goes on and on. You know what the list is because you have been working tirelessly for decades to make sure that we have a better environmental sustainability plan throughout all of our towns in Connecticut. So let's use their plight as an omen for what the future might look like if we don't act now. As their lives unravel and right in front of us, it shows us how truly frail our planet is. And together, we must all do everything in our power to conserve what we have. And that's why we're all here. We are all here because we care, we're passionate, we love the environment, we want to make sure that we see better communities where we live and throughout the entire state. And that's the essence. But also, let's not forget that time is ticking. And so we have to be very mindful of making sure that as we continue to work tirelessly and mindfully, inclusively, that we do it with a focus and we do it now. And with that, I would like to now introduce Melissa Everett of Clean Water Action, who is a phenomenal activist in her own right and will moderate her skills today. Thank you.